Hi there, this is your MSLIS Program Director Scott Nicholson with a little chat about some of your elective choices for fall 2009. Because registration is right around the corner, so if you have interest in these, make sure and sign up because slots will go fast. So I'm not going to talk about the core classes much. I just want to remind you, if you're a new student, you're going to want to take IST 511, the Gateway class, in the summer if you're a distance student, or in the fall if you're a campus student. Also, one of the first classes you should take is IST 605, which is the reference class. That's only offered in the fall semester. So if you're a new student and you haven't taken 605 yet, you should take that in the fall, as well as 511. If you have not yet taken 613, you're going to have to wait until the spring because 605 is a fall class, 613 is a spring class. And those are your two of your core classes. 616 is offered regularly, as are 614 and 618, the other three core classes. But fall is 605, spring is 613. Tell your friends. Neither of those are offered in the summer. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the electives. There are more choices you can find over on the iSchool website. To find the list of all of these that I'm going to talk about, head over to the MSLIS blog at this address here on the screen. And if you go to this address, then you'll see the listing of all of them. So if you're a campus student, here are some choices you might want to consider. IST 553, Information Architecture for Internet Services. So that's a class not only about designing a web page, but actually an entire website and the architecture that helps run a good website. And so how that all goes together. IST 565, Data Mining, is a campus class. If you see yourself heading into a more technical side of things, you could look at the data mining class. IST 619, Applied Economics for Information Managers. And so if you see yourself heading into a managerial role where you'll be dealing with budgets and numbers and money, and you want to know some economics, if you've not had an economics class, this would be a great class for you to consider. IST 625, Risk Management. Again, this is something that anyone going into a decision-making role should know about. How do you manage the risk for yourself, for an organization? IST 626, Business Information Resources and Strategic Intelligence. And so that's a class if you're looking to go into the corporate sector. It would be a really handy one. Or if you have some interest in working in, say, the business section of an academic library, that would be handy. But really good for special librarians. IST 632, Management and Organization of Special Collections. So this is the on-campus class where you're going to get to spend time with old books, with some rare books and special collections. We don't have an online version of this class because it is, you do a lot of hands-on work with some old materials. IST 641, Behavior of Information Users. So that's understanding information users not just for libraries, but across many sections and looking at it in a more theoretical way. IST 645, Managing Information Systems Projects, the project management class. This again would be useful for any of you that are heading into management, which by the way is most of you. Most of you are going to be managing, if not right away, within a few years of being out there in the field. IST 659, the database class, Database Administration Concepts and Database Management. If you see yourself going again into the tech side of libraries, this would be a useful class if you've never had anything on databases to understand how databases work. And finally, IST 683, Managing Information Technology Enabled Change. So this is, again, a more conceptual class, a more broad class, but it would be useful if you see yourself going into a special library. I could see that being really useful. But also, all libraries were in the middle of dealing with all that. So that's 683. And again, if you need to find this list that I'm going through, I've got it on this website here. Now, let's talk about online classes. Now, campus students can take online classes, and online students can take campus classes if you happen to live close enough. I know about a third of you do, actually, so you've got all of these choices. So we have, some of these are the same as the on-campus classes. IST 552, Information Systems Analysis, Concepts and Practice. Again, if you're going into systems librarianship, this would be a great class for you to consider because you're going to have to make choices between different systems. That's a perfect class for you. IST 558, Technologies and Web Content Management. Again, good one for people heading into the systems side of libraries or people who see themselves running the library website. This is be a good class to learn. IST 600, a new one, Participatory Librarianship, taught by Dave Lankus. This is his research area, and so it's going to be the first time he's offered that class. It should be a pretty interesting class to explore these concepts of making the library a participatory place. Instead of just a place where you go to receive information, you're creating it too. IST 600, Grant Writing, and that's part of a 3-class series. We're trying something new in the fall. We're offering 3 1-credit classes. There's 600 grant writing, ISD 600 library budgeting, and ISD 600 library fundraising. The way it's going to work is all 3 are offered online. You could take 1, 2, or all 3 of them. They're going to be in a sequence. So if you take grant writing, budgeting, and fundraising, you will get that whole batch as a course, or you can take the pieces individually. Again, for the dates are actually the budgeting classes in September, the fundraising classes in October, and the grant writing classes in November. Another thing that's useful about this is if you only need 2 credits, because you took 601 and you haven't taken a 2-credit class, you could take just 2 of the 3. But they're all going to be useful classes. They're going to be sequential, taught by the same person. So we're experimenting with some new models to make more modular courses for you to choose from. My goal is to have a set like that of 3 classes every semester, where you could do 3 1-credit classes like that. IST 609 is the Biomedical Information Services and Sources. If you're interested in health librarianship, medical librarianship, that's one of the strongest fields out there. It's a well-paying field. The folks are really moving ahead, and so it's going to be taught by someone who's an expert in that area, Gary Maggi. Many of you may remember him from 511. He tends to give talks there, and it'll be an online class. IST 612, Youth Services and Libraries and Information Centers. So if you see yourself going into the children's area of a public library, it's something you might want to consider. IST 617, Motivational Aspects of Information Use. So that's, Ruth Small is teaching that, and that's again her research area, and so you really get to engage with the concept of motivation and how that affects how people use information. IST 631, Theory of Classification and Subject Representation by Barbara Kwasnick. This is her area, and so this is a class on the concept of classification. How do you take bunches of stuff and come up with ways to classify that stuff so it's easier to organize it? IST 645 is Project Management, also going to be offered online. IST 659, the Database class, also offered online. IST 661, Information Management in Schools. It's pretty specialized. If you're school media, that's a class you'll be taking. But otherwise, you want to consider if you may end up in a school, you're thinking about it, you may want to take a look at this class. IC 663, Motivation and Information Literacy. This is another one targeting more of the school library folks, but it's the concepts of motivation as applied to information literacy. IST 676, the Digital Libraries class, is we're offering actually all 3 classes, all 3 of the core classes for the Digital Library Certificate via distance. 676, Digital Libraries. 677, Creating and Managing Digital Assets. And 759, Planning and Designing Digital Library Services. Those are the 3 courses that are the core of CAS in digital libraries, but anyone can take them. The Digital Libraries class is more of a readings class. The Creating and Managing Digital Assets is more of a hands-on class, and then 759, you're building digital libraries. That one is the capstone. You really shouldn't take that unless you've taken the other ones in the series. So that wraps up some of your elective choices. There's some exciting things bubbling in the school. I'm actually going to be headed to Germany. Our school has been selected as one of a handful to partner up with some German library schools, and so down the road you can expect to see some offerings for students who want to do a foreign exchange program in Germany. And we'll be hosting some German students here. And so I've just begun this process. I'm heading to Germany in May to check it out. And so anyway, I think that's enough of that. If you have interest in games and libraries, in June I'll be offering on YouTube a lot of information about that for free. There'll be a class alongside, but you don't have to be in the class to get the contents. You can just, again, you can watch the blog, and on the blog you'll find all this information, as well as what else is going on here in the school. So I think that's enough about that. Happy enrolling, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.